So when you're a kid and you're still in North Korea, you're collecting bugs and roasting them with lighters and things like
Mm,
that to feed yourself, right? To
mm,
eat dragonflies and grasshoppers out of
mm,
desperation. That's sort of
mm.
like the picture of this. I assume you have to turn your heart off when you're there to the plight of people around you.
I mean, when you are born, seeing his suffering is in front of your eyes. So you don't even think that's unusual, right?
Hmm.
It's like, it's a very, so that's like exactly the George Orwell's Animal Farm. In the first generation, they know. They lived before the revolution. They knew the time that was different. But when it comes to third ones,
Hmm.
the new animals, they have no idea what the alternative life would be look like. That's why, like, if you don't know you are enslaved, how do you fight to be free? Like North Korean people now who's living there have no clue. I mean, I've never even seen the map of the world.
When
I
you were
yeah,
there, you never saw a map of the world.
I never even knew that I was Asian. They told me that I was Kim Il Sung
You know now,
race.
though, I assume.
Now I do.
Okay.
They told me that I was Kim Il Sung
Yeah.
race. And the North Korean calendar begins when Kim Il Sung was born.
S-
I don't even know what who Jesus Christ is.
Right.
So you are completely, completely isolated. And that's why I just never even knew that seeing dead bodies on the streets and people are starving was something unusual.
Hmm.
I thought that was like a normal thing.
The amount of privation and desperation that you grow up seeing,
Hmm.
does it make you question whether it's possible to bring a country like that out of I mean, how can let's say magically tomorrow everything is reunited, South and North are reunited. It's going to take generations for people to start thinking differently. Or do you think that they'll adapt just quickly like you did?
To hear their heart is gonna take many, many generations. I think even their children gonna carry that trauma.
Hmm.
But adjusting to modernity is very quick. I mean, look at how even people I came here when there's smartphone, but people say when they grow up they did not have a smartphone. And now look at how everybody's so well adjusted to it. That's why I think humans are very adaptable. But I think the trauma is gonna take a time to heal. But not the adjusting to electricity. Of course, North Korean people love to have some shower and love to have some TV. Don't you think so?
Well, yeah, I've seen TV in North Korea and it's not that interesting. It's like
Yeah.
two channels. Um,
Yeah, in the countryside is one. Outside of the capital is one channel. Begins at like 5 p.m. and ends at like something like after 11. But we don't even have electricity anyway.
right, so it doesn't matter.
So what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This so if people don't know what the map of the world looks like or where other countries are or anything like that, then it seems difficult to believe that they would also know of their own situation, right? You said they don't know that they're enslaved.
They don't know they're isolated. They don't know they're oppressed. We don't even have the word for oppression. That's the thing. Like we don't have word for stress because how can you be stressed in the socialist
Mhm.
paradise? It's a George Orwell's double speak, right? Who controls the language, controls the thoughts. So regime got rid of the words like human rights.
Really?
Yeah, gay. They don't have the word for gay.
When did you find out what like gay people were like? I mean, I assume not in North Korea. There's
Oh,
not.
when I came to America,
Okay, yeah,
I
we had that.
remember somebody came and like hugged me, and then like, "Don't worry, baby, I'm gay, right?" It's like,
That's what he said.
what? Yeah, what the heck is gay? I went home to a hotel room. I looked it up. I was like, "What?"
It's like he's really happy. I don't understand. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
funny.
they don't have word for love in North Korea because they don't want us to love other people other than the dear leader. So the only love the North Koreans know is a written form word for the dear leader, Kim's. And we don't have word for individual liberty. I mean, all those concepts that we take for granted, they don't know. So
Wow.
it's so funny in America when people talking about how they're oppressed, and I'm like, if you're actually oppressed, you don't know you're oppressed.
Right,
So
it's invisible.
North Korea has no clue they're oppressed.
So if you don't have love, what about or the concept of love? What about parents and children? I mean, that has to be or is it different?
They care for you,
Mhm.
but they don't say that. They never told me that. My parents never told me they loved me. Nobody there's no propose. There's no word for romance. Because romantic relationships are not celebrated. It's a very shameful thing. The only reason you marry is because you want to glorify the revolution of the party and the dear leader, right? So like we don't know what Shakespeare is. There's no Romeo and Juliet. Every single movie is about propaganda. and therefore we know the word, like, written form love, but we don't think that was something we can use to another human,
Hmm, that's
which is,
interesting. I've seen weddings there,
yeah,
and the people are really happy, and also they drag us in their photos, which is really weird. Like, I'm
it
in
was
North.
set up. Those are all set up.
They're
I thought
set
the
up, yeah.
monuments on those holiday things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
We're like in North Korean wedding photos holding the bride and the groom. It's so weird.
every tourist get that photo,
Yeah.
so don't worry.
Okay, I thought it was very strange, and I thought, like, I hope this is like a real thing, but it's obviously it doesn't make any sense that it would happen every single time that we go
All
to.
of you go there
Yeah.
and then get the wedding photos with the people at the monuments.
Yeah, 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 right, at the monuments or in, like, a park, and there just
Yeah, in the
happens to be
park,
5
public
weddings.
places. Yeah.
Like, there's 5 weddings at the same time, and it just happens to be enough for all the groups that are here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, that's funny that that's all staged.
But it is true though. When you get married, you need first thing you have to go is monuments to the Kims and then pay the respect. Because you marry not because you love each other. You marry because you wanna serve the party,
Right.
serve the revolution. So you do have to go to monuments for sure.
So when did you first experience what you now know as love?
I mean, really later when I came to America, a while later. Yeah, but I did not know what love was until I don't know even if I know what it is. But the romantic love is like definitely in America. I did not know what that was until coming to the West.
You have a child now, obviously that's
Yeah.
special. I also have a half Asian baby. Very cute.
Uh,
The best mix in my opinion.
yeah, I
Um,
agree too. Very biased
yes.
though.
Yeah, it's slight bias.
Yeah.
Um, I wondered about that because I thought, maybe it's hard to adapt to romance, concepts of romance if it's literally foreign to you. I mean, people grow up in America thinking about it when they're in elementary school, and we see it in movies, and you read about it. I can't
Hmm.
imagine learning about it when you were like 15 or 16 years old.
Yeah, I mean, people do like we don't say like I love you, but they say
Mhm.
I like you. But that's
Yeah,
also
not the same.
South Korean word. So only teenagers who watch K-pop dramas we
Uh,
say I like you. So in North Korea, they don't even say I like you. But that's also
16 years old. Yeah, I wondered. I have a love.
I mean, really later when I came to America, a while later. Yeah, but I did not know what love was until I don't know even if I know what it is. But the romantic love is like definitely in America. I did not know what that was until coming to the West.
You have a child now, obviously that's
Yeah.
special. I also have a half Asian baby. Very cute.
Uh,
The best mix in my opinion.
yeah, I
Um,
agree too. Very biased
yes.
though.
Yeah, it's slight bias.
Yeah.
Um, I wondered about that because I thought, maybe it's hard to adapt to romance, concepts of romance if it's literally foreign to you. I mean, people grow up in America thinking about it when they're in elementary school, and we see it in movies, and you read about it. I can't
Hmm.
imagine learning about it when you were like 15 or 16 years old.
Yeah, I mean, people do like we don't say like I love you, but they say
Mhm.
I like you. But that's
Yeah,
also
not the same.
South Korean word. So only teenagers who watch K-pop dramas we
Uh,
say I like you. So in North Korea, they don't even say I like you. So usually because it's been arranged marriage, the party arranges your marriage, parents arrange your marriage, your town arrange your marriage. It was never like voluntarily you can fall in love because in North Korea they have 51 different classes.
51. Do you have to memorize those in school?
The big three classes are like the royal, and the middle is like wavering. The last is later is like hostile. Three big
Right.
categories,
Loyal,
and then,
wavering, and hostile.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then they subdividing them, and that is only government information.
Okay. Okay.
So when you try to go to university, when you try to join a party, the government has that information. They track you what happened to your great grandfather. They track every line of your family, your cousins of cousin, your in-laws of in-law. Who did you marry? Your cousin who? So they, if somebody get in trouble, if it's elite, even 3 to 8 generation get punished.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second because that's mind blowing. It's like this medieval aristocracy rules where it's like people you don't even know you're related to could do something and then you get punished for it along with everybody else in your family. You mentioned that there was an official that defected and they punished something like thousands of people.
Over 30,000, like 35,000 people got punished
That's
because of one
crazy.
guy. And most of them, they did not know even they were related to this guy. It's called guilt by association. I mean, like, exactly like you're white in America. Now in America, you're supposed to be guilty because you're white. Because you're somehow, some white people own the slaves in the back end. So it's like guilt by association.
It's interesting. Yeah, my family came here after that, so whenever
But you're white,
yeah.
so you're guilty.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose.
It's,
That's interesting.
it's exactly the same concept.
8 generations is wild, right? Because maybe you know your grandfather or even your great-grandfather, and that's 3, but then it's gonna be your kids and then their kids, and then maybe even more.
But then that's not only it. Even among the 3 generations, your in-laws, if you're married, the in-laws of their children, their fathers, their children goes. So even the in-laws, the blood, not the bloodline, get affected. If you're married, then you get affected.
So the whole point is just to keep people in fear, right? It's like multi-level marketing, but it's like yeah, well, maybe not quite, but it's like the multi-level marketing of punishment.
Yeah, and also get rid of the seed of rebellion. That's the thing.
Right, rip
If
it out
there's
at the root, yeah?
yeah, they get out of the root. So if somebody challenging the party ideology, they don't just go after killing you or your son, your grandma. They really go after a generation, like get rid of entire that clan,
Mhm.
and that's how they prevent the revolution. It's called zero tolerance.
0 tolerance, yeah.
Yeah.
So what this means is then if you're sent to a work camp because of a relative, your kids could even be born in there, your grandkids. People are born in these, like, concentration camps, and they die there. Uh, I think they're called total control zones or
Yeah.
something, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is like, Shin Dong-hyuk wrote
Yeah,
that
or
book.
Kangchoran, they've been there. Yeah, that's one of the crime when you're there. The first crime you get killed is the asking why am I here?
Really?
Yeah.
So you just don't even know why you're there, and
Yeah.
you'll never know.
Never know. They don't even tell you why you're there.
Ugh,
That's how you get killed.
what I don't even understand the logic behind this, but of course the whole thing just comes down to fear and control, so it doesn't
No, it's like all about because they can.
Mhm.
They can say because I can. Like that's the authoritarians. Because they can, they do whatever they want. It's not about being right, doing the right thing or the right regulation. Because they can simply tell them just you're in the concentration camp and then don't ask us why.
The book about the concentration camp, I think it's called Escape from Camp 14.
Mm.
So we'll link that in the show notes for people who are
Yeah.
interested in that. Your mom, growing up, your mom told you your tongue is the most dangerous weapon even the birds and mice can hear. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of what you're talking about, right? You
Mm.
can't say anything to anyone. Everyone is spying on each other, and the punishment is so catastrophic that it's not worth letting anything slip ever.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like even the birds and mice can hear your whisper. The most dangerous thing that I had in my body was my tongue. That's how they control your speech. But who controls speech? They control like your thinking, right? So the regime prevents even there's a thought crime. Even thinking.
Thought crime.
Even thinking is a treason. So I was afraid to think. I didn't even know what thinking was until I escaped South Korea.
You
Like,
didn't know what thinking was because you thought the leaders could read your mind,
yeah.
right?
So we don't even know what critical thinking was. When I was South Korea, I was so very much still thinking like Kims were starving and hungry and working so hard for us. I mean, that was what the regime told us, right? They were working so hard. They don't eat, they don't sleep. And I was like telling the South Korean people, and they were like, what are you talking about? Like, he's the fattest guy in the picture.
Mhm.
And I was like, what do you mean he's fat? And looked at the picture, 'cause he was.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, someone had to teach me that he was fat.
Even though you've seen him with your own eyes.
All my life,
Right.
every single day on TV, on the newspaper, he was a big, big guy. How can he be possibly starving? But it never registered to me that he was not starving.
What's going on with him now? He lost a bunch of weight, Kim Jong-un. He's like,
Yeah.
it's unusual because that's not really. I mean, he was very fat when I saw him on TV in I think 2015. He
No,
was-
even last until earlier this year, it was over 330 pounds for like 5'7" guy. It was very big.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe he's sick. That's what they're saying.
No, I think he's really working out.
Working out
Yeah.
so that he doesn't die too early. Yeah, that's possible.
I think that's what's going on because he's like he looks very energetic.
Mhm.
It's not like he's riddled by sickness.
It's interesting to see the changes in somebody like that. Like, his first speech in public in North Korea was on television, and I happened to be there.